The loss of jobs, the rise of price, the vanishing of favorites, all because of sanctions. 17 countries around the world are trying to make an impact without violence, trying to save Ukraine with only sanctions. But is it working? We are your hosts,
Ray Patron.
and Cole Longfield, and in this segment of Ukraine Simplified, we are going to explore the question of how are sanctions impacting Russia?
Sanctions have a massive impact on the economy of Russia, but are not making a difference in the war.
So why is it that just the economy is getting crushed?
Well, these sanctions are not being directed straight to the government. These sanctions are being directed to the whole country of Russia. As for the Russian economy is getting crushed, we're not seeing much on the political side of things.
That's interesting. So when you say economy, does that mean the civilians are the ones getting impacted?
Yes, the impact of these sanctions are causing loss of jobs, rise of prices, and a result making it very difficult to leave the country.
So have there been any sort of numbers connecting to these losses in the economy?
Well, 60,000 jobs at risk. The inflation in Russia is up 14%. It rose just 2% from last week.
So clearly these are heavily impacting the economy of Russia, but are there any other impacts on other countries around the world?
Well, yeah, it's a great example for this question because the gas prices are through the roof, with them being up just 38% from last year in the United States.
So as you said, other countries are getting impacted by this, but who are the countries putting sanctions and applying sanctions on Russia?
So there's a total of 16 countries in one organization, and these countries consist of Finland, the US, Switzerland, UK, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, Iceland, Bahamas, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Singapore, Taiwan, and the one organization is the EU.
And what type of sanctions are currently placed on Russia?
Well, yeah. So overall, there are some examples of these sanctions placed on Russia right now are economy, finance, private wealth, technology, airlines, manufacturers, energy, shipping, media, mining, consumers, logistics, and the U.S., for example, has banned all oil imports.
So what are your ideas on why these sanctions aren't working?
Well, what I read in the New York Times was that 83% of Russians support Putin, 81% of Russians support the war. So everyone that is getting impact is willing to sacrifice their lives for the country.
And to finish it off, I have one last question for you. What are your overall thoughts on these sanctions?
Well, the sanctions are heavily impacting the citizens of Russia, but are not doing anything in the war or affecting the government whatsoever. So in my opinion, I really don't think they're doing anything.
Thank you for tuning in on Ukraine Simplified, and I hope you learned something new. Thank you, Ray Patron, for joining us on today's podcast, and stay curious.